On today's episode, is monogamy for you? The time LB testified in a court of paw, and when not eating at Chick-fil-A isn't enough. All that and more on today's episode of Bad Advice with Beth Denberg.
Help me out, almighty Beth Denberg. Give me that vital information so I get the right thoughts to do, yeah. The church of Beth is in session, and we're reading from the scriptures of vital information. Talking my goddess and my savior, my LBT. Just tell me what's going on with me. Oh, my goddess and my savior, my LBT. Just tell me what's going on with me.
My name is Beth Denberg, and thank you for listening to the Bad Advice podcast. With me, as always, is Clark.
Hello!
Hello, Clark Crozer, in case you thought I swapped Clarks out on you.
I'm not Clark W. Griswold.
Exactly. Well, or are you? Actually, that's the picture. You have that
art
piece of art
that
has Chevy Chase, and it says Clark, and that's the picture that comes up on my phone when you call me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
I took a picture of that, or I got the image off the internet.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello, dear listeners.
Hey, how are you?
I am losing my shit.
Oh no, you're losing your shit?
Yeah, I am just losing my fucking shit. I do okay.
Yeah.
And yes, and life and masks and all of it. And then I just hit a fucking wall. And here's what's not fair.
Yeah.
Here's what's not fair, Clark.
Yeah, please tell me.
I am isolating, yet I am never alone.
That's right.
I live with my father.
Yeah.
It can be difficult. You, I know, you live with your...
I have my wife. I have my son.
Whom you love and enjoy being with. And not that I watch Jeopardy with my dad. We have a good time.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm screaming in my head because I'm never alone. And I do sad things like I will get home from, if I'm going shopping, if I'm going somewhere.
Yeah.
And I just sit in the driveway for an hour and a half, like a businessman who just can't go in to face his wife and kids yet. I went to go, pick up something to eat. I got some sushi last night. I picked it up. I sat in the parking lot and I ate it because it's like, it's
a moment.
It's my alone time, but it's not working anymore. It's not enough. So anyone out there who is just, and I'm still Zooming with people. It's not like I'm sitting there going like, I don't have anyone to talk to.
Well, it's almost not like you're saying you're not upset that you're in quarantine as much as you're upset as that you don't get your alone time in the quarantine.
No, the quarantine is the quarantine. I just don't get any time alone.
To yourself. And it's not like you have been living with your dad forever. You lived by yourself for 10 20 years. So going back to this must be so frustrating at times.
It's very strange. And also, dear listeners, I don't know if I've called you dear listeners yet today. My dad isn't bugging me every minute of the day. No. He's in his den, but it's just that feeling of, you're not alone.
Right.
Every time I walk from my bedroom to the bathroom, if I don't feel like putting on clothes, it's like a mad dash of how awkward it might be.
Exactly.
And there's just never that exhale. I haven't had that
moment to fart.
Yeah. Well, no, I fart constantly.
Oh,
I'm really good at farting.
Okay. Well, at least you're comfortable farting around your dad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just in general, I'm really good at farting.
Okay.
I'm not good at burping.
Really?
Like there's people that can just burp that they want.
I can burp whenever I want.
I cannot. I'm not even that good at burping under... Like, I have to really have chugged something, especially like a soda, for it to get a good burp.
What an odd thing to be bad at.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
It's just not a skill I have.
That's
it's
fine.
Interesting.
Who needs that skill? You don't need to have that skill.
Not when you've got a fart like mine.
It's more interesting that you can't burp.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly. Add that to my Wikipedia page.
Not able to burp.
On my Wikipedia page, first of all, it was really funny because years ago, this is 10 years ago, I was at Chili's with two of my friends.
Yeah.
We like Chili's.
Did anyone cut open a toe?
Not yet.
Okay.
No. That was prior to the toe incident, I think.
Okay.
Clark, that's another one that's pretty funny.
Logan. That's Logan
Yes.
that was on last week or the week before.
Yeah.
It was his wife that cut open her toe.
Okay, so now we have to tell this story. Because we're not just going to leave it at that. We went to Chili's. It was Clark and Karen, his wife, and Logan and Julie, his wife, and me alone because that's my destiny in life.
Oh, boo.
But I do like Chili's, so I came along.
Yeah.
At some point, Julie, Mrs. Logan, cut her toe open on something.
Yeah. Oh, and she was like 7 months pregnant at the time.
She was super pregnant. She was wearing sandals, or it's not like she was walking barefoot over glass, but she really cut her toe open.
Yeah, like the bottom of the chair,
the
went
chair,
over her
the
toe
table,
or
something. And so we call our waiter over, and he was really just like, yeah, sorry about that. Like, he offered no assistance.
Yeah.
It was really like, you need to go get some like towels
First aid
and
or
ice
something.
or bandage.
Yeah.
But he really just was like,
what do you want me to do about it?
Yeah, it was really strange. And so then we ended up like eating our meal. And I guess I think she was really like, can I get some paper towels?
Yeah.
Like we were just
I feel like
what?
somebody had like maybe there was somebody in a nearby table that had a Band-Aid or something.
Very strange.
Very
and
strange.
Then Karen was just like, her stewing like, this is not proper customer service. And eventually, I think she did say something, and the manager came over.
Yeah.
And then the manager was like, I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
Granted, it's not like, a stewardess, a flight attendant.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, for those of you that think that their main focus in life is to get you a Diet Sprite the second you need it.
Right.
99.9% of their training and their job is getting you off the plane alive when shit goes down.
Exactly.
That is what they do. That is what they know how to do. That is luckily what they don't have to do very, very often.
Right.
And then so everybody just thinks that they're like a shitty waitress that to be treated like crap.
Yeah.
So if you ever give shit to a flight attendant, just remember me in your head telling you to fuck off. But
okay, that digressed from our Chili's story with Mike and Julie, which was also from another Chili's story.
We're going to
go back to that other
Chili's.
Chili's.
No.
Okay, I'm
going to bring it back.
All right, let's work it.
Why I talked about flight attendants is because they are trained for that.
Yeah.
A Chili's waiter isn't necessarily, it's not like he was like, oh, good, I was just washing MASH. I know exactly what to do. But in any case, I think we did end up walking out with a $25 Chili's gift card because the manager was like, oh, sorry
you lost a toe.
But when I was at Chili's a different time with two of my friends, we were playing this game. It's when iPhones were out and where it was like dictation was a new thing.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea was to say your name into the iPhone and then laugh at how it misinterpreted it and what it brought up in a Google search.
Okay.
So, of course, they do it and it's funny and it's cruising. And then I go, Lori Beth Denberg, and it pulls up my Wikipedia page because I am, all so important. So they were like, oh, fuck you. But then there's somebody at some point, I don't know if it's still there, who put on there that I had married my high school sweetheart.
Whoa.
None of that is true.
Okay.
And I remember my friend tried to change it. She's like, I'm going to edit this. And then it was right back up there.
What? Somebody is insisting that you married your childhood
either they were
sweetheart?
Insisting or she didn't save her thing correctly.
Right,
but either way, it was kind of like, where did this come from?
That's so odd.
Yeah. So anyway, that was now the reason we started talking about that was adding something to my Wikipedia page, which was that I cannot burp on command.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. You made it all the way back.
I made it all the way back.
That was a very wonderful journey that we just all took.
I feel very, very satisfied right now.
All right.
So yeah, no, I've hit a little wall. I'm doing what I can to take a breath.
Yeah.
to, I was telling you about it. I came over to Clark's house early.
Yeah.
I said, can we start early? I was just anxious and ready to do something.
Right.
And I said, well, can I just come over early to sit with the dogs on the couch?
Yeah.
And I did that. I sat with the dogs for half an hour, and Flinny was on my lap and Baggy's right next to me. And it really did make me feel better. So
they're amazing therapy dogs.
They are good smushes.
Yeah. I love them. But if you're doing good enough, I do have questions from other people that do need advice on things.
Oh, yeah, I can always help other people.
If you're up for helping other people, then let's move on to some of these questions.
And then I can't think about my own problems. So this is working out.
See? Perfect. Okay, let's move on to question number 1. And question number 1 is from Brandy. And Brandy asks, hey, LB and Clark, do you think that relationships can survive infidelity?
Oh my.
Yeah, that's a powerful 1-sentence question.
That is a powerful. Well, thank you for writing in, Brandy.
Yes.
Some relationships don't even revolve around monogamy.
That's true.
So the answer to that question on the face of it is, what are the rules within your the rules?
Yeah.
What are the guidelines? What are the things that are important to you and your partner?
Right.
And what's been set up to do that? If you're, Brandy is phrasing it as infidelity, which really inherently says I'm in a monogamous, I'm in a monogamous relationship and my partner cheated or I cheated.
Yes.
And if those are the concepts, if that is the relationship as it is set up and understood, then it is up to, an individual to say, nope. This was the deal breaker. What's the deal breaker? Or, what comes with all of that. And this is what I think I might have said it on the show before. It's like, when people get to it's not the cheating, it's the lying. And I'm like, it's the cheating too. Because inherently it's just this, if you have that understanding with your partner and that is completely disregarded and disrespected.
Yeah.
That's what hurts.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Alongside, oh, no, I was lied to. And now what's my life without this person if I choose to do, break up. But so on that note, depending on the definition of your relationship and the understanding with your partner, it's either a deal breaker or it's not. But there are plenty of iterations of relationships. Iterations, I think I just used incorrectly.
No, I think that's right.
There are iterations of, people that have open relationships, people that have, which most of the time we all roll our eyes and we're like, yeah, we know what that means. It means that you're going to break up in 6 months. But, there are plenty of people I know that have a looser definition of, or I guess it's the compartmentalization of the relationship and the love versus sex.
Right.
That is not something that probably most people can separate.
Right.
But if that's your bag and you're with someone whose bag is similar.
And then I doubt you would ever be able to reconciliate after somebody, your partner falls in love with somebody else. That might be a little hard to do. But, if you're the kind of person that isn't that, crazed about sex, maybe just having a wild fling with somebody isn't that important to you or doesn't mean that much to you.
And within more open relationships, there generally still are rules.
Exactly. Oh,
there generally are
rules.
Like, here's the rules.
Absolutely.
No one I know, no one I work with, no one comes to the house.
Never tell me about it.
In the
always
house.
Tell me about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just as, deciding whether straight up monogamy is what is the foundation of what we're doing here. All of those things, I don't know. I don't personally know of anyone that's like, it's the Wild West. Go shoot your pistol any way you want.
Right.
So using the word infidelity in this question, Brandy, leads me to believe that it is based on what was understood to be a monogamous relationship.
Right.
And I can't tell you, I mean, definitely relationships have survived infidelity.
Yes, they have.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's just about the relationship can survive. The question is, are the people inside it really surviving?
Right.
Does surviving mean, well, we didn't break up, we didn't get divorced, but I hate my fucking husband and I live in anger and resentment every goddamn minute.
Right.
That's not that's on the outside. That's a relationship
the relationship's
surviving.
still there, but
the actual relationship, which is between two people, is
dead.
Gone. Dead.
Totally.
Fucked up and ready to implode.
Yeah.
So it depends on what do you got with your partner?
Yeah.
What do you got set up? What's your understanding? And whether I think that is what I agree with myself. It's not whether the relationship can survive. It's whether if you've been cheated on, you can survive in the relationship.
Right.
Which I think I might get crocheted on a pillow because that's
nice.
Yes.
I think we found our first merch.
Yeah.
Sell some embroidered pillows.
Exactly. That really speaks to my demographic, I think.
Well, hopefully that helps a little bit, Brandy. That's a pretty broad question. So hopefully
Brandy's like, I wasn't asking for myself. I was just curious.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully that helps. And
I want to tell the listener that I have a glass of water and I have taken like 3 sips and none of them have gone directly in my mouth. It's dripping. It dripped on my leg before.
Well,
now it's running down my chin.
I did give you the dribble glass. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to question number 2. And question number 2 is from my favorite person, Mr. Anonymous. And they were asking you, would you, Lori Beth, ever consider being on a celebrity fitness show like Celebrity Fit Club? Please explain your reasoning for or against.
Aha.
Yes.
Interesting, Mr. Anonymous.
Yes.
I was approached.
Oh, were you?
To be in the very first season of Celebrity Fit Club.
What?
I was. I declined.
Okay.
And here's how I know I have morals and ethics. Because I was fucking broke. I was still using, I was hurdling.
This is years ago.
Oh, yeah. This is 15, 16, 17 years ago.
Yeah.
I was hurtling toward my bottom as a drug addict.
Yeah.
And I was fucking broke.
Wow.
But I have this problem with reality TV.
Yeah, you always hated reality
Well, I
TV.
always have, and I have I have 2 special reasons. The first is that, I'm an actor.
Right.
And what I love doing most is television and sitcoms. And for every, reality TV show that goes on the air, it's 2 sitcoms that never were born.
Yep.
And especially right when Celebrity Fit Club was coming out, it was huge.
Yeah.
Reality shows were
not even peaked yet. They were still on the rise. They were still like exploding.
It was like when, Freaks and Geeks had to keep changing time slots so nobody could get a handle on it so that they could show Joe Millionaire.
Exactly.
So that brings me to another thing about reality TV shows. For the most part, they're disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like this, my friend, my best friend, she can't stop watching 90 Day Fiancé.
Oh.
She knows it's a train wreck.
Oh.
She watches it because it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I cannot get past how disgusting it is. And because I work in production, I'm constantly disgusted by the people, by the producers.
Yeah, you can see all of the shit that must have happened behind the scenes to make this shot work.
Yeah. No, just, I know that they're behind there going, well, I don't know why everyone questions his love for you. Who's to say that a 22-year-old Nigerian man who barely speaks English isn't in love with a 60-year-old fat white trash?
Right.
It is awful.
Oh.
It is disgusting, and it is sad.
Yeah.
And that, I think that 90 Day Fiancé is certainly kind of a great example of the worst of it.
Yeah.
But, okay, this went on another tangent, too.
No. But I was just about to say, I do feel like now that the reality craze has kind of crested and is now kind of flattening out into a more normal situation, I do feel like reality shows are now kind of clearly split. There is a group of reality shows that I feel like is not manipulative and horrible to people. And I would put in like a Survivor in there and, Amazing Race, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But then there's this group of reality shows that seems to be hunting for the moral low ground.
Yeah.
And it just seems to be an endless stream of like, oh, well, these are little people that are trying to date. And I'm like, well, then why do they need to be on TV? That just makes it feel gross.
Yeah, it's all very exploitative.
Yeah.
It's like somebody looked at Cheaters and said, how can we be more disgusting than this?
Or somebody looked at Cheaters and was like, flipping through a flip book of old carnival stuff and was like, hey, look at this sideshow thing that people used to have.
Yeah.
Wonder what we could do to make a sideshow for today.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like. It feels like everyone's being used. All of the quote unquote stars of these reality shows are just being used by the producers to make money. Yeah.
Under the guise of, well, maybe sharing my story will help someone else or legitimize me. So anyway, overall, I have an issue with what you're going to really call reality shows.
Yeah.
And
reality non-competition shows is what they usually are. It's the ones that aren't trying to like win a prize.
Yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah. I don't know if there's a prize on Celebrity Fit Club, but
I don't know.
The prize is self-esteem. I was approached to do the first season of that.
Wow.
I had just begun working with some friends, working with a woman to help me deal with some food issues and some weight issues. And this came through and I'm like, oh, fuck, TV.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
Whatever. But they sent me the information and it was like, you'd have to wear, a skin tight suit and be weighed on the air. Like what the show is.
Yeah, of course.
And I just said, no. I said, politely, but to myself, I said, absolutely not. And I had a new agent at the time. I need an agent. If anyone's listening, with an open movie part for me, an agent, or just money, if you just want to give me some money.
Sure.
I used that kind of as a litmus test for my agent. When I told him I was offered this and that I didn't want to do it. Yeah. And he said, well, I don't know why anyone would want to do it.
Okay. Well, yeah.
The same agent then put me up for the second or third season of it, pushing me to do it. So we ended our relationship.
Yeah.
But I was offered Celebrity Fit Club on 2 occasions, and I turned it down. It's not, anyone who didn't hear our episode a few weeks ago about body image and weight issues and food issues, go back and listen to that.
I think it's episode 13.
Yeah, it's I bared my soul. I bared my breasts as well, but you can't tell because it's just a podcast. But Clark is still traumatized. But, I knew that wasn't something I was willing to do. I knew that would be harmful to me.
That you must have really known, because at that point, if you have no money and a drug addiction.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you must have been desperate for anything to come in. So to turn it down must have been incredibly hard.
I look back on that specific moment where I really said no.
Yeah.
As this like, unquestionably, I know where my morals and my ethics and my boundaries lie, which just lets me know, when I decide to change or break them, you know? Oh, it's like, remember that one time? But, because there are other shows that I would be, I was on I don't remember what it was called. It was called the 90s House or something. And it was little kids to me. And I went in with, who was there? Me and Kel, and then Lance Bass, I think, was the host.
Okay.
So I have this really cute picture of me and Kel and Lance Bass.
Okay.
Like most people do.
Sure.
And I went on that to do we were part of a little challenge or something.
Right, like a reality competition.
It's not like, oh, I'm too good for that. Well, this was a very specific issue.
I also feel like if there was somebody came out in the next year or two and was like, a really famous big weight loss specialist, and they were really good at working with one-on-one with people and getting people into a good better place, and she approached you approached you saying, look, I just want to spend some time with you, maybe go around, spend live your life for a week, I'll just follow you around and I can give you hints and tips and where I think you should go. I think you would probably consider that, because it's a more humane, nobody's being exploited. It's more of just showing somebody growing and learning, and so there's ways that you can make reality TV less gross.
I mean, in film they call them documentaries. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So there definitely is that. Reality TV has that capability.
Yes.
Celebrity Fit Club was not the right fit for me.
Yes. Very good. We'll end on that. So let's move on to question number 3. And question number 3 is from somebody named Comedic Cam 47, right? Comedic Cam 47. And Comedic Cam 47 asks, how do I help my father reconnect with his father? He had an old school childhood and has tried to confront his father about it before. But my grandpa denied it. Ironically enough, now my father has become more and more toxic to all of those around him. He's turning into the man he no longer wishes to call his father. In the process, he is pushing myself, my fiance, and my mother away.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, if anyone knows about fathers.
This was a funny question from Comedic Cam 4.
Comedic Cam 47.
47. Thank you so much for your question. Here's what I think. Your dad's dad, forget about it.
Yeah.
If he's going to deny it, then forget about it. All that does is, pushing your father to push his father. Like, we need, because sometimes family doesn't mean that much sometimes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If someone beat the shit out of you and won't acknowledge there was anything wrong with that, or even say, look, that's what it was at the time and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You don't need anything to do with them. It doesn't matter if they're your gramps or your aunt or your mom or your dad or your brother or whoever.
Yeah.
So that to me isn't a real important part of this. The really important part of this is really talking to your dad in a way to say, without being accusatory, because this is something I've probably said before. We only know what we know.
Right.
I only know my experience growing up.
Yeah.
It was not great.
Yeah.
I don't have that same... my knee-jerk reaction to things is completely different to Clark's.
Sure.
Who had a very different situation growing up.
Very different childhood.
Clark is generally a happy person. Whereas I'm just looking for a way out. But, the thing to say to your dad, I think, is, I don't want to end up like you and your dad.
Yes. I
don't want to lose you, and you're starting to act in these ways. Not, and like I said, not accusatorily.
Yeah.
Because this is what your dad knows. This is his role model.
Right.
In life is your grandfather. And for you to come, I mean, that's such a cliche, I statements, not so much you're doing this and it's bothering me, but I'm hurt and afraid because you're making me feel this way. And I don't even know that you know you're doing it.
Right.
And almost like a little emotional intervention.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's just the crux of it is, Dad, I don't want to end up hating you the way you hate your father.
Yeah, I do want to throw out there, though, that, I know this because, my mom and her mom have a little bit of a strained relationship.
Yeah.
They do love each other very much, but, it's strained at times. And the worst thing that I could do if I was in a conversation or confronting my mom is to ever say to her, okay, Joan, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to call her mother's name, to basically say you're acting like your mom. That kind of comparison immediately shuts that person down. Yeah. And now they're just like, fuck you. God damn it. I'm not like my mom, or I'm not like my dad. Maybe a big key to this is to not, like you were just saying before, don't bring up the grandfather at all.
Yeah.
Don't say you're acting like your dad. Just say you're acting bad and you're making me feel bad. Don't bring up the grandfather, because then he'll just immediately jump into defensive, God damn it, and I'm not like my dad.
Yeah.
And then nothing can change.
But if that's right. And that's why I said to not do it accusatorily.
Exactly.
But in a pinch, you're making me feel the way Grandpa makes you feel is a pretty powerful statement.
It is.
If you're not getting anywhere, if your dad is denying things as well, that's something in your back pocket. And that's the truth. You don't, obviously you love your dad.
Yeah.
Or you wouldn't be writing to me about how to help him.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you help my dad? I fucking hate him. That is the crux of it, is you go, God, I don't want to end up with the relationship with my dad the way that he has the non-relationship with his.
That's you're comparing your dad to his dad a little bit, but that statement is more about you comparing yourself to your parent. And I think that's that's the opposite. Of course you want to bond with your son. You want to. So that makes total sense. Because then it's like
you're not commiserating. I can't think of a good word today. Yeah. You're identifying with your dad's how he feels.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So and maybe your dad can really understand that really well.
Yeah, I would say your dad is the one to talk about, and your grandpa seems to be, like you said, it's old school. This is how it was. Right. This is how people did things.
Right.
And not that there's definitely people that still do that today, but overall we have a better understanding, I think, of a better way to raise kids, to discipline, all that kind of stuff.
And if your dad wants to write your grandfather off, let him.
Yeah.
Let him write your grandfather off. He doesn't need to spend time with this jackass if he keeps making him feel bad. Yeah. Like, nobody needs that. So
no, that's why I was like, family sometimes but he's your grandfather. Yeah. I don't give a shit. Yeah, exactly. I'm an adult and I can say, he's a toxic person.
That's exactly right. All right. Well, hopefully that helps, Comedic Cam 47. Let's move on to one more question. Let's do one more question. This is a fun one.
Okay.
This is going to be good. This is from my friend Roy, and Roy sent us this wonderful question. Why did all of our parents make us think it was illegal to drive with the dome light on?
Oh my God, that's so true.
Right?
I still think that to this day.
It is not illegal to drive with the dome light on. That's nonsense.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Are you sure it's not penal code 694?
No,
0.64.
There's no way.
There's some of those things. It is more distracting with the dome light on.
Sure.
Generally, you're looking for something in the car, which if you're the one driving isn't the best idea.
Right. And if you need a light that insinuates that it's dark, meaning it's nighttime. And at nighttime, if you turn the dome light on, you kind of can't see out some windows. So I can see how important that would be.
There's some logistical considerations, but it's certainly not illegal, which is exactly what I was led to believe.
Force fed and lied to. Yes. That's what you were.
Exactly. You were, I was going to say you're a tool of big dome light. but you're not.
No, you're that's just big parent.
You're a tool of big parent. I am not encouraging you to drive with the dome light on.
No.
It does affect your ability to see lovelily out the window.
And let's say you do have the dome light on and you get pulled over. I don't think if you tell them that Lori Beth Denberg said that it's legal to drive with your dome light on, that the cop will let you go. So our advice really isn't that helpful in an emergency situation.
Yeah, like what if it is illegal and it's just never come up?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you love the cop is like, oh, damn, I love that girl. Exactly. All right, get out of here. Go on.
All right, go ahead.
Here's a warning.
Okay. Well, with that wraps up our question segment. Now we're going to move on to our rotating segment of the week, which this week I am very excited to say is our long-awaited return of Bad Dog Advice with Lori Beth Denberg. All right, let's bring this down.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Clark, just so you know, Clark has a phone call that he would not let me hear.
Yes.
All I know is this is somehow related to dogs, but he was like not allowing me. He was like, nope, you just have to wait. So I'm pretty excited to find out what the hell is what.
Yeah. So I got a phone call this week and, it really wasn't a question that would be good for our question segments. Most of the phone calls that we get are really important about parents or kids
or cows
or, something that's, asking a question. Or this one was different. They were just kind of asking you a question specifically.
Okay.
And the question was very intriguing because I don't know the answer to this question either.
Oh.
All right, here we go. You ready?
All right.
Hi there. Okay, so this isn't really an advice question, but it is a question. My friend told me that they seen Lori Beth on a judge show a while back. It was either Judge Judy or Judge Mathis or People's Court, one of those type of shows. I'm pretty sure he said something like Lori Beth was a witness on the case about a dog or something like that. I didn't believe him, but now that I heard you talk about being a dog walker in the past on the podcast, now I'm wondering if this was true. Maybe you can elaborate on this. I always thought that these judge TV shows were fake, so maybe you could shed some light on this. What was the experience? Is it real? And what was this dog incident? Thanks.
There we go. The People's Court dog law.
Now it makes a lot of sense. Like Clark was like, it's a weird question. It's not an advice question. We're doing bad dog advice. And so now he let me. Okay, yes. It was Christina's Court.
Oh, so you did do one of these law shows.
Yes.
And it was Christina's Court.
Christina's Court. I don't know that it's still around.
Yeah.
It might have come and gone quickly.
Wow. Christina who?
I don't know. She was some sort of judge.
Wow. Okay.
Not Christina. What's her name? Judge Millian. I don't know her first name. She's from People's Court.
Yeah,
I love
People's
her.
Court. Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. No, this was a, again, just like the, what's it called? the what the hell were we talking about before? Reality TV shows.
Yeah,
there was this little boom of judge shows.
Yeah, Judge Mathis and Judge Judy.
And what's funny, I was in this, case. I was at the dog park.
Wow.
It was two dogs that were wrestling. One of them was kind of bugging the other one. I knew both dogs.
Okay.
Because they're both sweet peas.
Okay.
But one of them was bothering this yellow lab, and the yellow lab turned around to snap, which is what dogs do, like leave me alone.
Sure.
And the other dog happened to be in a position where the snapping dog's mouth came down on his ear.
Oh.
So it wasn't like a bite. It was like if you were to turn around really quick pointing and hit someone in the face accidentally.
Which I do all the time with Lex.
Right? Exactly. The black eyes. Broke my goddamn headphones. So that was the situation that happened.
Wow.
The people of the dog that got I'll say bitten, just
right.
the people of the dog whose ear was injured.
The defendant.
The defendant, no.
No, the
not the prosecutor, the
no,
plaintiff.
The
plaintiff. The plaintiffs went fucking nuts.
Really?
Calling her, harassing her.
How big of a dog?
A large-sized dog. You know, very, very the same size as the yellow lab. They were playing. They were wrestling. And the yellow lab, her name was Kelsey, got, I was very good friends with her mom.
Okay.
And with Kelsey, she was just a good smush.
That's
very
the
sweet dog. Yes, that's the defendant.
Okay.
And, you know, we'd been at the park together, all of us, many, many, many times. It wasn't a stranger.
Yeah.
The dogs were of, you know, comparably the same size. It was just an accident.
Okay.
And my friend was like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, let me pay half the vet bill. And they were like, no. And all this stuff. And by the time they were calling her and harassing her, and by the time this came around, they were going to sue her for all of this stuff that was just ridiculous.
What? For her dog nipping at another dog's ear in a dog park?
Yeah. The doggy did get a hurt ear. He had to go to the vet.
Okay.
Whatever. But it was certainly not,
traumatizing.
No, it was an off-leash dog park. It'd be different.
Right.
If your dog was off-leash at a regular wherever and came up and friggin' bit your dog.
Yeah.
But like I said, it wasn't even in a bite. It was a snap to say, get away from me, which is what dogs do.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the verbal skills that you and I do.
Exactly.
So I guess what happens is, you know, the court shows look at the dockets for the courts for the small claims and maybe pick ones they think would be good.
Okay.
I found out later. So that's what Christina's court did, and approached my friend.
Okay.
You know, to take this to the show. And I found out later that Judge Mathis also had contacted them. And I wondered, though, if he would have to recuse himself from the case because he had been on the Steve Harvey show with me. How weird that a TV judge might have to recuse himself.
What?
I know, it's pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
And at this point, I'm not even very good friends with this woman. I love her. I love her dog. We're at the dog park.
Yeah.
This was kind of our first adventure together that led to us being better friends. Her name is Debbie. Debbie, if you're listening, I'd be surprised, and I love you. So we go to Texas.
Okay.
The Christina's court, you know, gets us plane tickets.
Wow. So they film in Texas.
Yeah, it was, I can't remember say Houston. I don't know.
Okay.
And again, Houston, I hope that you're warm and that you have water and electricity.
Yes.
And it was like summer. It was hot. It was fucking weird. And we just go, and we don't know each other very well. And we think that they're going to give us 2 hotel rooms.
Yeah.
They give us 1 hotel room with 2 beds. No. And we're like, okay.
I guess we're sleeping together.
And it was just like it was kind of an overnight thing too.
Okay.
It was like we showed up. The whole thing is surreal anywhere. Anyway, where are we? The dog's not with us.
They didn't bring the dog?
No, they didn't bring the dogs. But of course, on the show, they had the saddest picture of their dog with his bandaged ear, you know, and it's funny. It's so crazy that we talked about that reality show stuff and how the producers are despicable.
Right? Yeah.
Because the producers make this big deal to keep you away from each other. You know, the plaintiffs are getting out of their van. Stay in the van for right now. And then totally came up to my friend, the producers, going, yeah, well, they're just saying that, you know, you're irresponsible, and really stoking things. And I have a background in you know, television and drama. So I can see what's going on, and I'm pretty disgusted. So we get there. They give us some, you know, we go through hair and makeup. They gave me something to wear. What I wore wasn't good enough for them. Really? I don't know. Yeah. So I don't even know what it looks like. I don't think I've ever seen it, and I don't care. But so then we have this court case, and the people had been so ridiculous that along with I think the most you can sue for is $5,000 in small claims.
Right.
So they were suing for $5,000, including the vet bills, which were nothing like that.
Okay.
And then they had called the cops or something.
Yeah.
And they had left their phone. They were suing for their cell phones because they left their cell phones on a car and it drove away. Like, and when I remember when Judge Christina read that, everyone in the little audience just laughed.
Yeah.
Like, it was clear these people were ridiculous.
Yeah.
The whole thing was ridiculous. And in the end, the judge said, well, to my friend, you'll pay half the vet bills, which is what she said immediately. The thing with the court shows is they pay it.
Oh,
that's kind of your fee to be on the show.
You don't get paid. They just, whoever wins, whoever loses doesn't have to pay that amount.
Yeah, the judgment is paid by the show. So they are real. They're ridiculous. They're real ridiculous. It was this really surreal, weird thing. And then on that same trip, we went to the mall afterwards. We went to eat at the Cheesecake Factory, just me and my friend. Huh. Then we went to the mall, and I got this Thai massage that was so intense. My entire back was completely bruised.
Oh my God.
It looked like I had been whipped with a cat of nine tails. And people, the Thai massage, they get on the table. There's different techniques. Yeah. It's not an anomaly that would happen, but I looked like I got beaten the fuck up. And I felt like it too. Oh. And then I remember it was summer, so we came home. And
Did you have to get on a plane after that and fly back home?
And it wasn't that bad. It was
because bruised back.
Yes, I said, look what my friend did to me. I'm taking her on to Judge Mathis. But it was during one of those, really hot spells in the valley here where Clark and I live.
Oh yeah.
And I was helping with this charity event that was in Griffith Park, I think. We were doing a barbecue and hangout and all this kind of stuff. And when I got back, and it was just rough. Oh. I got back in my car at the end and turned it on, and it says on the display 118 degrees. Oh, God. So I've been in this weird judge dog vortex in Texas. And now I have this completely bruised back. I've been working all day on this event, just drained of every ounce I have, of life.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, of course it's 118 degrees right now. So anyway, to answer your question, yes, I was on a judge show.
Well, thank you so much. I'm very happy to hear that story. I'd never heard that before.
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing. All right. Well, hopefully that solves that question and we can move on. We have one final question for the podcast. And today's final question is from somebody named Zoe. And Zoe asks, I am a cisgender white woman.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. How can I be an ally to marginalized groups without it appearing to be virtue signaling?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
That I wish more people would ask. And I will explain what virtue signaling is, because that's not something everybody has on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah.
Virtue signaling is like, well, of course, Black Lives Matter. Of course I'm posting this. How dare they do this to those protesters, I say on Facebook.
Right.
But I take no actual action.
Right.
To try to
make the situation better.
To try to be an active ally.
Right.
What can I do?
Right.
And there's a lot of lip service. And I mean, this is what Facebook is now, to just take that one example.
Yeah.
And what a lot of us have learned over the last year is that saying how much I agree with you doesn't really mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Helping means something.
Right.
Changing my actions.
Right.
Helps. It's not enough. That was a big thing I remember. Your wife would post about it.
Yeah.
And she does not virtue signals. She
no.
gets her hands dirty.
Yes, she does.
So it's more like, it's not enough to not be racist. Right. We need to be anti-racism.
Right. Exactly. What a very good way to put it.
Yeah. And it's, of course, then you go, in the political, correctness spectrum, like, are you kidding me?
Right.
But it is the systemic, not even the systemic racism that we all know works and is put in place for a reason and has been working quite well for the people that established it.
For a good 250 years.
I ran out of breath like B. Arthur. So that is alive and well.
Yeah.
And if you choose to fight that concept and say, no, there's not, you're either racist or really stupid or I mean, it's hard to say ignorant because ignorant is such an insult now, but like you're ignorant to the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was talking to Karen about this. This is a very serious question. And, you know, you don't really, I was saying before, you only know what you know.
Right.
So I'm white growing up.
Right.
That's my experience. I had a shitty childhood. I had, you know, we talked about that. We talked a lot today.
We have.
It's all coming together.
Almost 50 minutes.
Yeah. But that is my experience. And none of that had to do, I didn't have any of the consequences laid out by shitty people about being Black or Hispanic or gay or anything like that. I was fat. I took my share of lumps, but
and Jewish.
And I was Jewish. But I'm an atheist now. Let's start a fucking war about it. You know, the experience of being a person of color, she just says marginalized, which kind of captures, you know, everything.
Yeah,
and we know what that
means.
Yeah, and now it's like, well, no, white people are marginalized. It's like, no, honey, no.
Yeah,
you're not.
Yeah,
and it's really easy for me to say, well, of course I'm not racist, and this is awful, and how could this happen, and how could even believe this? But am I showing up to a city council meeting where anything is going to be decided?
Yes.
Are there parts of my life, are there things that I do, or are there things that I enjoy that are part of systemic racism, even if I don't know it?
Right.
That now I know it.
Yeah.
Because this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And do I say, I'm going to change that? I'm going to, you know what a really simple way to say this is? I don't spend my money at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is literally the least I can do.
Right.
But, you know, if you're going to be anti-gay and, you know, put money into anti-gay shit.
Right. Yeah. Like a gay what is it where they try and reprogram you and that kind of shit?
I don't give my money to them.
Yeah.
Part of that is just because, and I've eaten at Chick-fil-A before, but for years I have said no. And it doesn't hurt that Popeye's chicken sandwich is really fucking good. But that on a micro level, that's a choice I make.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that there aren't a million other things that I need to do. Things that I have going for me that I don't even realize I have going for me.
It's true.
You know, and that's a big part of what I've seen, you know, white people who say, you know, oh, it's so hard to be Black. I don't have money. I haven't had these advantages. What are you talking about? White privilege. And that's where the real work and the real eye-opening has to happen.
Yeah.
Because yes, I haven't had a good childhood.
Right.
I haven't had a, you know, riches
fairy
and
tale.
I've had a shitty time.
Yeah.
But never once when I've been pulled over by a cop have I been worried about my life.
Exactly.
Never once, not even.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what you were, if you were speeding, if you were high, that never would have mattered.
Never
what you
crossed
were doing
my mind.
Because we're white and that's not something that we have to be scared of.
And in fact, I usually end up joking with them and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And that's something that without hearing the experience of other people, I would not have known about. And until recently, we haven't even really been able to hear that experience.
Exactly.
Because it's not only, are you, person of color, so we don't care anyway, society as a whole says. And not society as a whole. It's the system.
The systematic.
It's the
that's
systematicness.
The system.
The systematicosity. Until I'm able to hear those other experiences and points of view from people that are just affected by it, I don't realize what I've got going.
And you have to be open to listening to what those experiences are. You have to be open to willing to listen to these people and listen to these stories, and just for once in your life, accept that something someone is telling you, even if they're a stranger, could be true.
Yeah.
And that not everything is as you see it. You've been framing it perfectly all day today. You live your life, and your experiences build your psyche, and your psyche can only judge shit on what you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't open yourself up to learning and accepting new behaviors, new realities, if you think, police are all great and fantastic and heroes, maybe it would be an eye-opener for you to really sit down and talk with somebody that has experience where they have been beaten up or they have been treated unfairly. Because I've seen people being treated unfairly, and it pisses me off, man. I can't take it. When I see somebody, it doesn't matter if it's a color thing, if it's a race, a gender thing, if it's anything, I hate seeing people that are being, picked on or bullied or made fun of, or, just being treated like shit by assholes.
Yeah.
I hate watching assholes.
Yeah.
So I always feel like I need to step up and step into the situation.
Yeah.
And, kind of figure out what's going on. Karen and I were walking out of the movie theater at the Promenade years ago. And as we were walking out, there was two guys, and they were clearly escalating into a fight. And one of them was black and one of them was not. And I could tell that the white guy was starting to whip out some of these phrases that were going to get him beaten up, or that were just going to start a fight.
Yeah.
And I had to kind of walk into these two strangers and go, guys, we're at a movie theater. You're yelling about a movie. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're right. You're right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Let's end this and move on.
Yeah.
You go your way. You go the other way. And we kind of ended it there, because you kind of have to step in sometimes. You have to do more than just wish it away.
Yeah.
You do have to do a little bit of grunt work and walk in and step in. And if you see somebody that is a cisgender white person and they are acting like a privileged cisgender white person, you need to be the ally that steps up and goes, excuse me, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? This person was trying to do whatever, and you are getting in their way. What is wrong here?
And what's funny is then you run into, it's so delicate. And part of that is political correctness gone awry.
Sure.
Because part of that issue is then you're the white savior.
Right. Right.
And so that is all this kind of, like, I'm so with you. I love stepping into shit.
Yeah.
I love stepping into shit, especially, mostly I don't love it, but it mostly has to do with people being complete assholes to someone who works behind a counter.
Oh, that's the worst.
That's not necessarily racially driven, although it could be, depending on how entitled you feel.
That's more class driven.
But that's where I step up most times. It's not like I'm looking for a fight every day. But, it's something that Karen said to me when I was talking to her. It's like, so this person is saying, Zoe is saying, how can I be
an ally
without appearing to be virtue signaling?
Yeah.
Well, here's the first thing. Don't appear.
Yeah.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
I put my money where my mouth doesn't eat Chick-fil-A.
Right.
But in addition to that, like Karen was saying, she likes to support Black-owned businesses.
Right.
You know, she likes to do that. I mean, she worked really hard on a political campaign trying to get for at least one, but 4 women of color onto the school board.
To the college board.
To the college board.
Yeah, the community college board here in LA.
Yeah, and she worked her little white ass off.
Yes, she did.
Because she really steps up and says, this is important.
And it wasn't stepping up to be the white savior. It wasn't stepping in to save the situation as much as it was she saw that that people needed help to get to a point where some other white people just kind of were handed a situation. You know what I'm saying? Like
what Clark isn't saying is that there were corrupt pieces of shit on the board.
Exactly. That were kind of just given the job.
Get rid of them.
And they were given hundreds of thousands of dollars for advertising and marketing and all this stuff. And here are these women that have no way of even knowing how to get into the election process, let alone get money and all this stuff. So
Karen worked really hard on that.
It was working with them. It wasn't just coming in to save the day.
Yeah.
It was being, like Zoe was saying, an ally.
Yeah.
And I was thinking the same thing with the guy at the parking lot, right? Walking out of the movie theater. It wasn't like I came in was like, ha, I will save you. As much as I came in and stood with the black guy, it was like, I could see that this guy was just being an asshole to him.
Yeah.
And it was more of like, what do you need me to do here?
Yeah.
Do you need me to talk to this guy? Do you need me to separate you two? What can I do to help?
And when I have it in my pocket, my white privilege, that's part of that's what I can use as, use systematic racism to my advantage.
Exactly. For the benefit of a person of color.
Because if there's going to be a big fight, if they're going to try to get these, women elected to the school board, anybody of marginalized, anything.
Right.
It's like, well, what I know is that as a white person, I'm going to be taken seriously.
Right.
So why don't I use my powers for good instead of evil?
Exactly.
And those are, but at the end of the day, the important thing is the action.
Mm-hmm.
Writing on Facebook how much I, am behind Black Lives Matter is not enough. Saying, here's what I did today.
Right.
Is what will start to change the tide.
Yep.
Or I should say what could. I have everything is, and of course we started the show by me saying I was losing my fucking shit.
Yeah.
But this is part of what is difficult for me. I'm so hesitant to be hopeful about anything.
Yeah.
I really am. I worked so hard. What'd you say?
I said a lot of people are.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are.
I have never worked harder at anything than I worked at not being hopeful that the presidential election would turn out the way it did.
Absolutely. After 2016, good Lord.
And then I did a good job with that. And then I kept catching myself, getting hopeful about Georgia. And I kept reprimanding myself. It's pretty loud in my head sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling hopeful.
Yeah.
And that is such a sad state of affairs.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
it is.
And luckily, we say this show isn't political. You can probably guess where I fall on the spectrum of white privileged, liberal, whatever. I'm a Hollywood liberal.
You are. Hollywood elite.
Oh, God. But, elite. I feel elite every day of my life. And so it's like I find myself saying, hopefully this tide is turning. And it's like, I need to take this person's question. What am I going to do?
Right.
Me not eating at Chick-fil-A today is not enough.
Right.
So I'm going to think of something in this vein of what is something that I do that even unconsciously has a negative impact as far as my place in systemic racism, as well as, BIPOC.
Yeah.
BIPOC's place in systemic racism.
Yeah.
And that is a lot more difficult to parse apart. But the key is action.
Yeah.
What action can I take? Zoe, what action can you take to, and just like, Karen said she likes to support Black-owned businesses.
Right.
It still has to be a good business.
Right.
Don't get food poisoning at a horrible restaurant and be like on your deathbed, like, at least I supported BLM.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe you ordered a BLT, but it turned out to be a BLM. And the M was...
Extra mayo?
No, it would have to be something deadly to kill you. The bacon, lettuce, and mercury. Sandwich.
There you go.
Yeah, I wanted to support the Black-owned business, but I don't think...
Now I have liquid metal in my body.
I shouldn't have gotten the extra thermometers. But those are things that we could each do, and important is to look at, okay, let me try to step outside of my own experience.
Yes.
Because then it is like, I'm sure that I will be thinking about this for the week for beyond that to say, oh God, I never thought of that.
Yep.
I never thought of that. I never thought of this.
Yes. And everyone out there, please be open to listening to other people's stories and open to change. You got to be willing to make a little bit of change to sacrifice for the greater good of the country.
And sacrifice is a pretty shitty way to say it when it's like, oh, I've got 20 Twinkies and you've got a quarter of one. I'll sacrifice one for you. Now I only have 19.
Right. But look, hey, man, you got to talk to them in their language. And in their language, they are sacrificing by giving away their one Twinkie. So you got to talk to them in their language. And let me tell you, you got to change.
Let's get some Twinkies too.
Yeah, it sounds really good. I'm not a big chocolate guy, but I do feel like having a ding dong.
Oh.
Are ding dongs still made?
Ding dongs are still made.
Okay, I'd do that.
Fair enough.
Okay. Anyway, so we're going to go get some sugar stuff now because we've been stressed over all of this podcasting shit. But I had a great time. Did you have a good time today?
I did. I feel like this one was pretty deep.
This was a very deep episode, but I think we'll feel like we still got a little lighthearted humor in there.
Well, it was so... It was already deep, and then he hit us with that fucking dome light shit, and it just pushed me over the edge.
And then the dog court. It's been a rough show.
Dog court. God, that was a crazy
I had a great time. Hopefully you guys had a really good time out there too. Please, if you have a question for Lori Beth, send it to us at askloribeth.com. You can hit us up on all the socials at Ask Lori Beth, or you can leave us a message with your name and where you're from at 1-855-DENBERG. That's 1-855-DENBERG. Or if you only know numbers, that's 1-855-336-2374.
Yes, please send your questions in. And if you want to get a hold of me personally, that sounded like an invitation I didn't mean to make. You can find me on Instagram at LB Denberg, on Twitter at Lori Beth Denberg, and you can book me for a personalized video at cameo.com/Lori Beth.
Yeah. All right, everyone. I hope you had a great time and have a great rest of your day. And we'll talk to you later.
Do something nice for someone else today.
Yes.
Thanks, Bubbas.
Love you. Bye.
Bad Advice stars Lori Beth Denberg and Clark Crozer. The show is produced by me, Jeremy Balon, and part of the Seltzer Kings network. Our theme song is written and performed by Natty Ward. If you or someone you love is in need of some bad advice, you can submit your own question on our socials, all of which are Ask Lori Beth, or on our website at askloribeth.com, or for a nostalgic twist, you can call 1-855-DENBERG. That's right, 1-855-336-2374, and leave your question there. Thanks for listening.